So we had Nick Saban on this show yesterday from SEC Media Days, and the thing he told me that reverberated the most came when I asked him a question about conference realignment. Here's what Nick Saban said.
The mega conference, will create, a little more of a caste system maybe in college football, and I think everybody's got to decide if that's the direction we really want to go or not. Obviously at Alabama, we're one of the haves. It's probably a good thing. For some of the have-nots, maybe it won't work out as well.
So, mega conferences, those are the words of Nick Saban. Let's get the words of Paul Finebaum and Heather Dinich, who are with us from SEC Media Days. Paul, what did you think of what the coach said there?
Breaking news. Alabama is a have, Greeny. Did anyone in the country know that until yesterday? So Saban dropped a bomb on you. All kidding aside, I'm not really sure what Nick Saban came here to do, because he deflected and he genuflected, and he said the obvious. It seemed like Nick Saban was determined just to be a nice guy, the elder statesman of the sport. He clearly said Alabama is in good shape. But what I really took away beyond the mega conference and beyond the NIL conversations, Greeny, was this. He was comfortable, confident. He's also got a chip on his shoulder, the size of the Empire State Building. And why is that? Because he lost last year. He came in second in recruiting to Jimbo Fisher. We know that story. And he came in second in the country. And he's got the best team by far, Greeny. He's got the two best players. He's got a cornerback from LSU that's a top 6 projection. You know what all that means? It means Nick Saban knows where this season is going to end. He's going to be playing for the national championship once again.
Heather, you were there yesterday for all of that. What did you take away from it?
Well, after he left the main stage, Saban told me and a few of my colleagues that he said that these decisions can't be made just for money. They have to protect the integrity of the sport. He also predicted that within the next 2 years, something is going to happen to bring college football back to what he described as the center, but he didn't pinpoint exactly what that would be. And then to further add to Paul's point about coming in second, he emphasized what we heard yesterday from some of his players, including quarterback Bryce Young, who said they failed last year. He said, we failed to be as good as we could be, and he was pleased to hear that people weren't satisfied from last season.
Yeah, look, I mean, they are in that rare position where it is championship or bust pretty much every year. But, Paul, as Heather was talking and quoting what Saban was saying, you were shaking your head vigorously. Why?
Because Nick Saban's best friend growing up was Joe Manchin, a senator from West Virginia, very powerful guy. And Nick Saban believes, because I think Manchin has told him this or indicated, that Congress is going to bail these people out in college football, bail out all the coaches with NIL. That may or may not happen, but do not trust Congress and do not depend on Congress. Nick Saban says all the right things about NIL. Greeny, this is just an opinion here. I don't think he likes NIL. He says it because it helps him in recruiting, but he always uses the phrase name, image, and likeness, but like he's holding his nose. And I think he's making a serious mistake when he airs his grievances, and that's what he's really doing. He is airing grievances about NIL and talking really out of both sides of his mouth. And I think he's walking down a dangerous road, because the recruits that are watching him, they like NIL. They don't want to see it curtailed. They don't want to go back to the way it used to be. And Nick Saban, I think, is in a precarious position by continuing this conversation.
Look, Heather, I mean, I can't say this with any degree of certainty, but I think if you gave every coach in the country a truth detector, a lie detector test, none of them like NIL, because it is a diminution of their own power and authority over the circumstances. But that toothpaste is out of the tube, right? We're never going backwards on that. That's not the center that they're talking about going back to, is it?
No, I don't believe so. I just think when he's talking about the center, he's talking about something that brings college football back to a more grounded space. And we've heard him talk about competitive balance repeatedly, and what he's talking about there, because I pressed him on this yesterday, because when I think of competitive balance, I don't think there is any in college football right now. Within divisions, within conferences, some play 8, some play 9, but he's talking about the ability of programs like Cincinnati to be able to give players an opportunity to have those NIL things and get to the national championship. Can they continue to do that in this era? And my understanding, talking to him, was something's going to happen so that that competitive balance can maintain itself. Whether or not that's playoff expansion or NIL rules, whatever that might be, he sees something in the future that's going to help ground all of this.
Yeah. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.